Hello, beautiful and beloved ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions, and welcome or welcome back. And if you wonder about that strange title, these days I'm giving you a message right after about every other music reaction regarding this historic change from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness for the entire planet. And this is a message video, so stick around. But first, we're going to start with Diana Ankudinova, Personal Jesus. Here we go.
Personal Jesus, someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. Woo! Your own personal Jesus, someone to hear your prayers, someone who's there. Reach out, touch fire. Feeling I know when you're all alone. Flesh and bone by the telephone.
Her staging is always so extraordinary. Look at the extraordinariness of this staging, and you got the people dancing, you got the lights and everything else. Look at her fantastic costume. How old was she here, by the way? I'd love to know that. Put that in the comments. But, I mean, I'd love to know, is she involved in her own staging of these things? Because, man, the staging is so unbelievable. My kitty wants to get involved. Anyway, we're going to go back a little, but don't forget, friends, I have my member tiers now, and I've been furiously putting in special videos for you, so check out the video on that if you're interested. Let's go back. What I love also about her is the richness of her voice. The sound of it is so rich. Have you ever noticed, like, it's not like any other voice out there in the world. It's just such, I mean, every voice is different anyway, but there's a richness to it that you really just don't usually get. I don't know, I know that she had rough time coming up, so I don't know that she had much training on this. I think it's just, natural talent, I think. You can put that in the comments and let me know if that's true as well. And by the way, if you're enjoying this, give me a like, give her a like later, and subscribe. Okay, let's continue here. Let's go back a little bit.
Yo!
It's an extravaganza, isn't it? She just doesn't sing. She does the whole show, the whole shebang, dancers, lights, everything. You never catch her just singing. That was a beautiful note, by the way. Let's go back and hear that again. So powerful. Oh my goodness, like, and oh, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, wasn't that wonderful? Oh my goodness. And you know, it takes a certain level of trust, to go that far with a song. Like, you're willing, or I should say, like, letting go of the ego, if you will, because you're willing to let all of these other people, come in to give the tableau, to set the scene, to be powerful. You're just willing not to be the only one in the spotlight. You're willing to let all these other people come in and be a community about it. And that's when the most poignant messages are given, right? When it's just not one person running the show. And I love that about her. She's willing to just, have it be a collective effort. That is so wonderful, so marvelous. And this is an interesting song. Let's put it on my scale, by the way. 1 being fear, pain, suffering, anger, sadness. That's an ego-based stuff. And 10 being very fifth dimensional, which is love, peace, joy, bliss, fun, play, ease. So 1's a 3rd dimensional, 10 is a 5th dimensional. And let's see. So in this is an interesting song because I'd never really heard it before, but I looked up the lyrics quick because you guys are always asking me about what it means and stuff. So it looks to me like this person is talking about having your own personal Jesus, which I take to mean someone like loving her. Someone is offering to love her like Jesus and be the place where she brings everything, her fears and sharing and this one will envelop her in his love and it's that. I think that's what it's talking about. Don't think it's talking about the actual Jesus that you would turn to. I think it's talking about someone is offering to be this one's Jesus, for all those purposes. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It's a loving thing to offer to be the one, to like just, envelop you in the love and take care of you in that really beautiful way. So in that sense, love and all that is like a higher dimensional thing. Now, you do have the situation where, which is the reason why people do turn to faith, is because human beings, as much as they may wish to, be our everything and do everything for us in the right way and have us uplifted by them, oftentimes we don't as human beings. So we might have the best plan for that in the world, but life happens and then we don't always become that. So for instance, my former husband was that to me. I looked up to him like my Jesus, what can I say? Like, I put my all into him and he was giving me so much and providing so much love and so much support until life hit him with addiction, and then he wasn't, and then it was going the other way. And that's, so that's the danger of putting all your hopes and dreams and wishes for fulfillment, I should say, or for upliftment in another person instead of in the divine. So in that sense, it pulls it back a little bit, because this person is maybe, and if you might consider it like, if you have that person that's your personal Jesus, you're kind of a setup for a fall, because human beings are very imperfect and they can often not fulfill on what they would wish to fulfill on. So it's about love, but it's got that tweaking it back, that you're putting all your faith in this person instead of in the divine. So it's still high, though. It's still uplifting. She does a beautiful job singing it. By the way, we're not talking about how well she sings it in this scale. Let me be clear. We're just talking about whether the song and the presentation pulls us more backwards to 3D or forwards to 5D. And I would say that this one as a whole is kind of pulling us in that direction. So I would go with like a 7.5 on this one in terms of how much it pulls us to the higher realms. And beautifully done and wonderfully staged and so wonderful in every way. I just love that's the performer in me loves to watch these too, by the way, because as much as I'm in the conversation of 3D versus 5D, I love a lot about performance, even when it's not pulling us this way, or even if it's pulling us maybe midway or even a little backwards. I still love a good performance, right? Because I my first degree was in theater and I sing as well, and so that's important to me. By the way, friends, if you like to know a little bit more about me, you can go to the About Lorelei video on this channel, which also, if you desire, leads you to a little longer video about my what I call my forged in the fire 3D journey in my earlier life. And I learned a lot though, and I became a transformational coach, similar to a life coach, but even more powerful, I would say. And I learned a lot about natural healing, healed myself many times over from some serious things. So if you like to get the benefit of that and see what I've created, you can go to in the notes About Lorelei on Patreon, and that'll show you some of the things I've created. And it's also nice if you'd like to support me, as some of you have asked. You can support me on that Patreon page, or you can support me, buy me a coffee on the description here on YouTube. And either of those is much appreciated. Okay, friends, let's get to our fifth dimensional message. What is or was Jesus's role in this shift to the fifth dimension? So is there a role that Jesus had? Now I came up with this because of the song, and it just had the name Jesus in it. I had no idea what it was about, so I thought, well, let's talk a little bit about Jesus. So is there a role that Jesus has now in the shift to the fifth dimension, or had in the shift to the fifth dimension? Well, typically many people would say that this shift to the fifth dimension is sort of like, not exactly the way necessarily the Christians thinking of it, but is sort of the second coming of Jesus. It is the actual meaning of the second coming of Jesus, in that it is a consciousness shift. You see, Jesus held what we call the Christ consciousness, of love, of peace, of harmony. Love thy neighbor, do good unto those that do bad unto you. Judge not, that ye be not judged. All of these things, he that is without sin cast the first stone. All of these encompass the Christ consciousness, the way of thinking that we call the Christ consciousness. And so Jesus was called the Christ because he embodied the Christ consciousness. And what is this shift to the fifth dimension? The shift to the fifth dimension is when we all embody the Christ consciousness, when we all come from that place that Jesus was actually bringing to us as a concept, as a thought, as an idea, as a thinking. When we all come to that place, then we've actually raised ourselves up to the higher consciousness, to the fifth dimensional consciousness. Because in point of fact, fifth dimensional consciousness is the Christ consciousness. Now, there's a little more tweaks of what's in fifth dimensional consciousness than maybe the main parts of what he brought to us, specifically, but still, it's a part of it. It's a huge, huge part of fifth dimensional consciousness. So Christ consciousness is a huge, huge part of fifth dimensional consciousness. Might even be said to be the major part of fifth dimensional consciousness. So all that stuff that he taught us is part of it. Now, I'm not talking about the business of Jesus came and to be sacrificed on the cross for your sins. That is definitely not fifth dimensional consciousness. And arguably, and I don't want to insult any of you Christians, but the reality is that arguably that was put in by the folks who changed up what Jesus had said in his teachings 500 or so years later, and wanted to bring about control of the population. And they felt that a good way to control them was to make them feel like they were very bad, and so bad that Jesus had to die for your sins. And now, to make up for it, you can also give tithes and money to the church all the time, ongoingly, for the next couple thousand years. And it's a way you can make up for what a sinful person you are that Jesus had to die for. That was not not part of the Christ consciousness. In fact, quite the opposite. In raising himself up, that as he did in the resurrection, this was actually meant to show us that you can overcome physical reality. You can do it too. It's not just me. You can do it too. And he was saying, be as the birds and, be as the flowers in the fields and the birds in the trees, and do not worry. These were also steps to get to that higher consciousness. Now, whether he died or not on that cross is up for debate, because many people believe no way would a higher dimensional being who had gotten to that stage have stuck around on that cross to be sacrificed like that. And other people say, well, maybe he allowed the physical body to be on the cross while he kind of left and did his thing, and then came back and transformed the physical body back to life again. And either of those is a good possibility, I think. But for a surety, it was not, you're so bad that I have to die in order to make up for that. That was not the point at all, friends, not at all. And some of you, as I'm saying this is going to resonate with you, because you're going to be like, yeah, I always thought that was kind of weird, and when I really thought about it, it just didn't jive with me. And me too. I walked away from religion probably in my late teen, I'd say early 20s maybe, because that just didn't, I walked away from at about age 12, but fully by about in my late teens, because a lot of that stuff just really didn't jive with me, my understanding, my knowing, my inner understanding, and of the divinity of the human being, like the God spark within. Not that everybody shows up that way by any stretch of imagination, but that everybody has that spark and ability, if you nurture it, to show up that way, which did actually come to be true in my later life. I saw this over and over and over and over and over again in transformational personal growth, where people would literally, transform and begin to, everyone to a T, almost each and every one of them, almost every single one of them, once they got rid of the muck and the mire they carried around from the experiences of this life, would begin to show up like that God spark, like that beautiful being of, I don't know, goodness, if you will. So I don't mean to get off on a track there, but yes, the point of Jesus coming here was to teach us about the Christ consciousness, and to teach us that we also could achieve that Christ consciousness. Now, I say that was the point. So this is kind of coming to the role of what Jesus did play and still does play, is that this was a plan. It was understood way back in the annals of eternity, right? When this whole game of coming to the earth and trying out the physical body and seeing what it was like to be in a physical body, when this was devised, it was understood that long about this year, this couple, like 20, well, some say 2012, but it could be a lot later, because of, time is over thousands of years, time changes and whatnot like that. But somewhere in this basic time, which is really the blink of an eye for eternal time, is when humanity was meant to raise itself up to the higher dimensions, to, if the game went well, to actually finish the game, win the game, if you will. Now, this was known to be this particular kind of time period anyway, because every 26,000 years, the Earth passes through something called the photon belt. The entire galaxy, I believe, passes through the photon belt in the universe. And there's all this high vibrational divine God light that's coming at us at that time. So at that time, historically speaking, there was a couple of times where all the living beings on the planet were kind of wiped out from that high vibrational light. So this time was the time we were supposed to raise up and not be wiped out, because we were able to sort of assimilate that light, right? And in point of fact, that is happening. And by the way, we're being helped by the angels and the archangels, the ascended masters, because we have risen to a certain level, and many of us have asked for that help. Maybe you don't know about it, but maybe you did it in your dream state, or maybe others of humanity who do know about it have asked for that help, so they've gotten able to get that help, because ask and it is given. So here we are sitting here at this time. So, and they knew that was going to happen. So they all the higher beings, okay, who were involved in this game of the earth, this third dimensional earth, where they were going to send down their aspects to play and to learn and to grow and develop, right? So they all got together and said, well, it's not, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was 10,000 years ago, I don't know, 8, 6. Yeah, it's not looking so good down there. It's not looking so good, like they're going to make this shift. And so this was when they devised a plan to send down a group of their very sort of I should say learned aspects, right? So it was their aspects, but it was aspects that had already been through the process and kind of knew how to ascend, how to do that whole process. Now they were going to have to come down here and forget all of that, right? By the way, because that's part of the deal and part of the plan. But it was believed that they were high enough beings, if you will, that they would, when they came and incarnated here, and they forget all that, because they could still bring it back, right? They could still have it all sort of come back, given the right set of circumstances in life and everything else. And so they set them up for that. So they set up Jesus for that. They set up Mary. See, Jesus was meant to have all these folks around him: the Mother Mary, the beloved Mary Magdalene, all the disciples and apostles and everything. He was meant to have all of those around him, and all of those were also put into situations where it was hoped, and believed that they would be able to rise up to the occasion when the time came, even though they had technically forgotten everything they knew about the higher dimensions and all. So yeah, comes down Jesus, and yes, he gets many of his higher powers back, that he once had, and he starts picking off his disciples. You're supposed to be with me. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to be. And they all go tromping around teaching what they're supposed to teach. And that was the point, to bring that consciousness, to bring that knowledge and understanding, even the knowledge that you could miraculously heal your body in an instant. And he did. It wasn't just Jesus healing their body, it was their faith. And he said that. He said, your faith has made you whole, because they had such a faith in Jesus that it made them whole. See, had they had a faith in themselves or in anything else that strong, God, an angel, a tree, it didn't matter. If you had a faith in anything else that strong that you believed it could heal you, it could heal you, because it was you healing you, not anybody else. So this was really what I know. This can be shocking to some of you, and hey, what can I say? But I'm doing my best to bring forth the information that I've come to understand here. But some of you are going to be going, yeah, I'm glad. Finally, I get the power over my life, and nobody else has it. So I hope some of you are in that kind of realm as you listen to this. So this was a plan. This was Jesus's role, and he did fulfill on his role. And arguably, he did have a long physical life after that, but as a sort of higher dimensional being with his love, arguably with his love, Mary Magdalene, they had a long physical, beautiful fifth dimensional life where they didn't get involved with the third dimensional insanity, and they just enjoyed it, arguably, okay? And so, but they fulfilled on the mission, and they got that conversation in what we like to call the collective consciousness. They got what it was they needed to get in there into the collective consciousness, with a few interjections of not such higher consciousness that some other people threw in there, but we're trying to shed those now, right? This business of, you're such a bad person that somebody had to die for you. That's one of the ones we're trying to shed, And so now, what is his role now? Well, there's a lot of people playing a role right now. We have certainly Jesus and the higher self of Jesus, which is Sananda, and he's very active in helping around. We have Saint Germain, a very, very powerful figure. In fact, we believe that he is the one taking the ball and running with it as sort of the lead point person on this. Let's call him the quarterback on this whole shift over. Saint Germain, he has a role. The angels and the archangels, all of the, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Camuel, Archangel Uriel, all these archangels that are also involved with our chakra system, by the by, they're doing their thing. Ascended Master Buddha, just so many of these beings who have been here, and they are now helping us. Well, how are they helping us? It's a consciousness assist, right? They're not coming down here and doing it for us. They can't do it that way. But it's a consciousness assist. It's a drop in your higher selves. Each and every one of your higher selves, whoever is your higher self, they're assisting. Like, this is a massive effort. And as they drop information into your head, and if you listen to it, then it helps you on your journey, right? If you just discard it and say, oh, that's nonsense, then that's not going to help you much. But if you get a great, brilliant, wonderful thought in your head, and it's a thought of love, or it's a thought of abundance, or it's a thought of everything's going to be great and life is wonderful and all that, that may be coming from your higher self or the higher beings. You know, you got to glom onto those thoughts, which are about how wonderful everything, how beautiful everything is, how fabulous everything is, how we're moving in the right direction, how your life is going great. All those thoughts, those are the ones that would be coming not only into your own head, but from the higher dimensions, very possibly. So Jesus is there. He's working along with the rest of them. He's not interested, though, to be your God, so to speak. That's never what he planned to be. That's never what he wanted to be. He always wanted to be the one to have you get the God within you. And he is there plugging away with all of the rest of Mary Magdalene, Mary, Mother Mary. They're all there. They're all there, assisting us from the higher realms. So, okay, that's it. That's all I have to say today. Baba sent you that fifth dimensional energy, the love, the peace, the bliss, the joy, the fun, the play, the ease, the abundance, and the magic of the divine spark within you. Coming at you now. Namaste. I honor the God in you.